Today's discussion is on mystery and magic. This world is a world of magic, and if you read quantum physics, if you read neurophysiology, you come across one word. The word is mystery. I know this is in the world of science, that there are many things that there is no explanation, and we may have to just accept it. So the world is of magic, and it is not the aspect of belief in it. We are just sensible to know this. One the quantum physics professor is based in San Francisco, Fred Alan Wolf, and he says this big miracle is right in front of your nose. And what is meaning, this whole world that exists is like a biggest miracle that exists in front of us. We can either see the miracle or we miss it and lead a life calling it boring. That is our choice. Now today we are going to see some phenomena that is seen within research, and whether we call it parapsychology or psychic phenomena, different institutions. There is an organization based in London, Psychical Research Center Institute, and they got publications and they got books published, and you will see some books in the library here also. And there are people in this country and many countries who do systematic observations of different phenomena. For example, out-of-body experiences. So 6% of the population of this planet have out-of-body experiences. 6%. 6%. Means almost half a billion people. Anyone here had out-of-body experience? Two hands. That is not. So if you speak to people, you will get an idea what they experienced. It's on the roof of the hospital in a building, and there are no stairs to go to that roof either. So no one knew that. He's telling there is a blue shoe on the roof of the hospital. And at that time, cardiologist is Dr. Raymond Moody. And so he sent the person, but cameraman, to go to the roof, and they filmed a blue shoe on the roof of the hospital. He himself was not a believer like this, but these incidents made him into accepting that there is this another phenomena. He was quite happy to ignore this case as anoxia of the brain, but after this experience he started to study this seriously. He has published books also now. But different other phenomena. Poltergeist is another interesting phenomena they study. In the presence of a person, things disappear and reappear. That is called poltergeist, German word, poltergeist. So these people, in their presence, suddenly the boxes disappear and they are in the next room. Who took them there? There's no explanation. Suddenly stones appear. Those stones are not in the town, and where did they appear from? Don't know. This kind of, no explanation. You can only see it as paranormal. In these cases, one big phenomena that is studied scientifically is reincarnation. Ian Stevenson is a big name in this. Ian Stevenson was psychiatrist in Virginia University. This is in 1960s. First time he comes across a case of a child remembering another life, talking about details about another life, and mother had brought this child. So he studied this child, and instead of giving this child medications to stop talking of this, he tried to locate that other life that this child is talking about. And he found that the other life that he found, he was the first one to locate that life. 40 facts matched with the reality. So what was happening, child, what this child was talking about, that matched with the life of that diseased family man. 40 facts were matching. He published this case in the Psychiatry Journal of America. This is in 1962, around that time. There was lots of interest in the medical world. He got grants to study this phenomena, reincarnation, or at that time they didn't know what it was. In time, his studies got very formalized. Now they got an institute for personality studies within Virginia University, and they got 24,000 cases of children who remember another life. That is the way they describe this. But these are not just they talk of another life. In all these cases, they locate the other life, they study the case, and they see what is how much the child knows about the other life. In majority of these cases, the child has not been to the other family or other place. Then these are good cases. Lots of them, they just remember some details of the other life, not all. But he has got thousands of cases where children remember all the details of the other life. That's when he calls 40 facts, by using those 40 facts, 40 or more. So then they know all the details of the other life, including the secrets. No one else knew. So only the wife knew, something like this. And this child knows about those details. So everything. And it is really contributing immensely to the new science, if we can call it, because it tells the science institution that consciousness exists independent of the body, and we have to rethink about evolution and this whole department of Big Bang. We have to rethink. If the consciousness can exist, where does evolution fit in here? There are some scientists who said, if Ian Stevenson is right, we all are wrong, which means science has to, drop. And so either of us, we can't be both right. Either Ian Stevenson is right, or rest of the whole science institutions are right. They may have to be closed. If he's right, many of the institutions will have to be closed. Now, in this study, he sees a pattern. There are, if you look into internet, even just type the word Ian Stevenson, reincarnation, you will get connected to his pages. He has published books, and he's a thorough scientist. He just wants to know the phenomena. He's not trying to support a religion or something. And most of his staff are like this. They're more a scientist, just want to understand what is going on here. So you get a very impartial, objective understanding of this situation. He describes one such phenomena called the announcing dream. Say a person has died, the future mother, the would-be mother, she gets a dream, and in the dream, the deceased come in the dream, and tell her, I am going to be born to you. There is a pattern like this. From different, in his cases, there are cases from all 5 continents, from different cultures. And so you get a very interesting pattern in all these cultures. Announcing dream. The mother gets a dream and the deceased person comes and tells. And in time, this child remembers the past life. His cases are only those that remember the past. Another example of a pattern that he sees, there is something called phobia and philia. Phobia, fear or dislike. So this child has extreme fear of certain things, and they are connected with how he died in the other life. Say if he died of water drowning, in this life he has fear of water, extreme fear. In the past life, he died in a closed place, like in an aeroplane cockpit. Then in this life, he has fear of aeroplane going into closed space. If in the past life he died of car accident, in this life he has fear of entering into car, any car driving. He has fear. They are called phobias. And philias, they immensely like certain things. In fact, they like everything of their past. They like the past culture. They like the past music, the food that was there in the other life. They like the religion. They like the town. They like their family. They like the gender. So there is philia, which means now the body is female, but they like to dress as male. And this continues as a child for a certain years, and it is because of the philia connected with the past. Sometimes the other family may be poor, still he wants to live in that other family. He likes that family more than this present. So he talks of that other life in the present tense. So he doesn't say I was that child, or someone was my mother. He doesn't say that. Someone is my mother. He talks of that in present tense. He tells his mother in this life, you are not my mother. And because for him that other life is the reality, and he says, I'm here for a short time. My mother will come and I'll go back there. This kind of very strong.
For a short time. He will say, I'm here for a short time.
Yeah, he tells the mother, I'm in this, but I will go back to that is my family, that is my mother, that is my house, and I'll be going back there. And he's surprised why that mother is not coming to collect him, this kind of thing. He never accepts this birth here and being away from that family. And this continues from 2 years to the age of 6 years. And then gradually the memories fade, and then he settles into this new life. But very few cases, it continues beyond the age of 6 years. They may remember whole life, maybe even. But large majority, gradually the memories fade. In some cases, maybe by 3 years, 4 years, they don't speak anymore. But by 6 years, 7 years, most of them have forgotten. So Ian Stevenson feels possibly there are a lot more cases of reincarnation. But you might see sometimes little children, they look at you as if they know you, and what you are up to, this kind of thing. They sort of, like a old grandmother, kind of, or mother-in-law, they're looking at you as if. Have you seen anyone like that?
Yeah,
looking at you.
Old people, not children.
But by the age of 2 years, they have forgotten. The new impressions have taken over, according to Ian Stevenson. But his cases are those who talk about the past life and memory. But most fascinating observation in his studies is injuries from one life going into the other life. That is the most fascinating. So you see, these children with born injuries, birth defects. They're born with that. And these birth defects correspond to the injuries they had in the other life. And he has got thousands of these cases. There is not one or two. One or two would have been fascinating. I came across, some children who have something like this, and I was so excited about it. But then I see Ian Stevenson's work, and he has got photographs and studies, and he's written books on this. One of his book is called Birth Defects and Reincarnation. So all kinds of injuries. Like a typical is someone who was shot in the past life, maybe war or somewhere shot, died. And this life he is born with a circular scar, which means on the head. That policeman, now she is born as a girl, also in Chicago. This policeman was chasing the gangsters, and gangsters shot him, he died. And this girl has got a hole in the heart, exactly the place where the bullet passed through in the other policeman. And she had operated on the heart, for that. I don't know if police department paid for this surgery, but they should be taking responsibility for this. But there are other very, very fascinating cases. One man in Burma, he was hanged, and he was a criminal. He was hanged, and the child born, now he's an adult, and he's born with a narrow neck. So much so that all his life he can only eat liquid food. He cannot eat solid foods. He's born like this, and so looking at his face, underdeveloped chin and narrow neck, it appears as if he was hanged in this life. Understand? No? But he was hanged, he remembers, he was hanged in the earlier life, and he's born like this in this life. So all kinds of cases that you will see children born with scars, different kinds of scars. Typical scar on the chest, right across the sternum, with marks of stitches on both sides, dots. And look at that. Open heart surgery is like that. And so here they are born like this, But you will see, many who don't remember what happened in the past, but you look at their abdomen, they are born with a scar. And look at the scar, it appears like a surgical scar. Now, all this gives very, very fascinating insight. What it tells us, spiritual knowledge tells us that your last thought has an influence. In time of death, all religions have that kind of understanding. Last thought does matter. So they tell, don't think of other things, think of God at the last moment, and this kind of thing. That understanding is there. So in these cases, you are realizing, if at the last moment, if you have a thought, I got an injury on my head, I have lost a finger. If this is the thought at the last moment, that thought, that consciousness goes with you. And wherever you are born, that consciousness will create a reality. So if he goes there with the thought, I have lost my finger, sure enough, that new embryo in the body there in the fetus will lose the finger. Consciousness is so powerful.
Sometimes children born
without finger.
Yeah.
Yes. So the consciousness creates that reality. So if the consciousness has the impression, I have got injury on my chest, and whatever. In some cases, it can be blood that was not washed, blood the patch, it's injury, and the post-mortem photograph shows there was a scar and there was blood on the thigh, and that is the way the body was cremated. That child that is born, that child has got a scar and red erythematous patch, almost representing the blood that was there on the thigh. So that impression goes with the soul, whatever it is, and that impression creates a reality. Now, once we understand this, let us see its repercussions, wider repercussions, how we can use this. Say a person in this life has got lots of attachments. Say attachments to people, say, or attachment to money. Let us take the example of money. What will be his last thought? His last thought will be, I am losing my money. More the attachment, the last thought will be, I'm losing it, because you are going and money is behind. Consciousness carries the impression, I am a loser, I have lost, and I'm poor. And this impression will create a reality in the future. If he has lots of attachments to people, children, last thought will be, I'm losing my children. I lost my children. These are not positive impressions. These impressions create misfortunes. That here, negative is the result in the future. So a person is attachment to his iPad. I don't know what will be the impression in the future. Maybe in future you will get Samsung. You want something like that. So here, if you create an attitude where there is zero attachments, that is what we call soul consciousness. So your attitude is, you soul, you are a guest here. You have nothing belongs to you here. Inner attitude is like this. So the impression you are carrying with you, I own nothing and I lose nothing. Just like here, when we were saying earlier, you are a guest in this place. So when you go, you don't feel you lost your chair, you lost your cushion. No, it didn't belong to you. You didn't lose anything. So a person who is soul conscious, he knows that he owns nothing, he loses nothing. And so the impression that goes with him is a fullness, is full. And so the reality that is created is of fullness. More you imbibe it over here, that is the impression you carry, that's what you create the reality. And this is a small way how we can bring spirituality into our life and make the society fortunate. Not in this parliament, but in the next generation. Thank you.